Xoli Mngambi is live for us now from Mthatha. What a day it's been, Xoli, this memorial that stretched over the course of the day, undertakings made to continue to support communities there, others saying they haven't seen any sign of promised relief. So it really is a multi-dimensional story in the aftermath of those devastating floods.
Indeed, Iman, and I want to borrow from some of what the minister has had to say, and that is that they are intensifying efforts to try and respond to this disaster. So I don't want to waste time, Iman, because my guest is the person who is part of the provincial government structure, but more keenly his is to make sure that municipalities function. And here in Mthatha, we see the complete dysfunction with a disaster like this adding on to what had already been a struggling municipality. Let's talk to MEC Zolile Williams, the MEC of Cogta in the Eastern Cape. MEC, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. A very important day unfolded here today. Perhaps the good point to start is the death toll. Where does that stand? Is that still at 92? Because the minister talks about intensifying response efforts. That cannot go anywhere yet without families getting closure, particularly those that are saying we're still missing loved ones.
Good evening, Xoli, and good evening to the viewers. Well, Xoli, we have now employed a company that uses drone system that has capability to scan human body, because we would want to ensure that we uncover every body that is still outstanding. We are hopeful that with this system that I have authorized, we will be able to make a breakthrough, because there are families that even in the provincial mourning, we're still raising that some of the family members who were deceased are still not found. So we want to close that.
And just quickly before you move on, that's a very important statement you have just made. Do we know, are you able to quantify at this stage just how many families we're talking about that still have not located loved ones?
At least there were about 4 that says we have not located the loved ones. Now, I am saying therefore, Xoli, that because of that gap, we can't abandon the search and rescue now. Because once you do that, you would just damage and destroy those families. That's why we are employing this system, and we're hopeful that maybe we can uncover most of the bodies. But the rescue team is also getting deeper into the Mthatha River, trying to go in the far-flung areas so that we can be able to see if we can't get those bodies trapped somewhere,
And I see that there is now also the involvement of the military. I saw a military helicopter with divers that literally is following the route of the river. Yes. That's an additional effort from the side of government, is it?
Yes, definitely, Xoli. We're trying all we can to find these bodies, So, because the difficulty is that how do you abandon families that are clearly, distraught with this disaster? And so the difficulty is that as government, we can't leave them. We have traversed this road so far, so we need to finish it off with them. So we're trying all we can to ensure that we uncover every deceased person whom we don't know where we can find now. That's why we're employing all systems to ensure that we can get these bodies.
All right, MEC, then let's get into the other matter I raised with you last night, and that is that of the response to the people that are displaced. Yes. Where are they right now? We saw many of them at the start of this disaster accommodated in community halls. Where are they now?
Remember, Xoli, in terms of the Disaster Act, within 48 hours, you must then relocate those people back to their homes or to alternative accommodations. So what we did was to get the Department of Human Settlements to take all these families into bed and breakfasts around Mthatha. So they have been accommodated there. There were glitches when we started, Xoli, where I think officials, a little bit of fatigue, I think, is also creeping in, because we've been here for the past 2 weeks. And so they were too quick to move in implementation of that decision, when the decision was actually to be implemented the following day. So when JOC decided on those people, officials thought it was on the same night, so they removed all those families to the BNB, which was not ready. So the following day, at least when the CFO of the department, the minister were here, we could fix all those challenges. But still, you must remember that BNBs are not meant to accommodate necessarily families. Now, there are family units in those people that we took from the community halls. So there was still a stampede in terms of allocation of beds and so on. But we have since, those glitches we accept, but we have since resolved some of them, even in terms of catering and food of those people. As time goes on, we're fixing all those things to make the situation comfortable for them.
All right. MEC, I'm going to have to be controversial at some point. It comes with this job.
Yeah.
We are hearing discomforting stories that the blankets, mattresses, the necessities that have been donated to the people who have lost their belongings, those are being kept by some people, whether it be the owners of certain establishments. And it's a rumor, and I want you to confirm or dismiss it out of hand, that some of these are being kept possibly for campaign purposes come the local government elections. Is there a story like that?
Not that I know of, Xoli. What I know is that in that one center where the president was, in Dikolini, when the officials quickly took a decision to move those members of communities, they then said to them, leave everything, because you're going to the BNB. Now, members of the community went to the BNB without even their blankets. Remember, when we give you, with the give of the givers, or us as government through our own mechanisms, when we give you a mattress and a blanket, those are yours and your family. Each one in the family normally gets his or her mattress. So we did not get this report. Only when SIPA raised it the following day, we could get understanding of this thing. To us, there's nothing that says these must be taken for campaigning. We don't know of those things. We giving people, I think we've organized as much as we can to give to the communities, not for campaigning. I don't know how does that feature when we're busy, we're really with serious business. I don't think ours now is to focus on matters of campaigns and all that. But another thing, Xoli, that may be misleading. Remember, we're getting sponsorships from members of society, business, and so on. What I've seen is that in the regional office of the ANC, they have collected their own donation as the ANC in OR Tambo to donate to the people. So now, some mischievous people thought that these are taken from what we're giving to the communities to the ANC, which was not the case. The ANC regional office is giving us, in fact, material to donate to these people. So many, I mean, I've just received from a bus company now lots of groceries in respect of supporting this community. So there's just lots of sponsors that are coming in. So the ANC did its own part to give us to that. There was no intention. I didn't even hear about campaigning and keeping these mattresses. For what? When we are in this crisis and people do devious things, I don't think it's morally correct to even do that.
I'm glad you use the word moral or morals.
Yes, yes.
You were at pains last night, lashing out at those that were threatening gift of the givers for delivering free water to the people. I don't want to go back to last night, but I do want an update as to whether the extortion networks that are going around threatening people, including gift of the givers, for donating water to people, whether those people are going to be arrested anytime soon.
We are hopeful, Xoli. We have reported the case to the Commissioner of Police. You must remember, the NIU is still in Mthatha, full force. So these extortionists, after we got news about their attempt, they've since disappeared. But the good thing about this whole thing is that they were identifiable. The communities could identify them. So we've handed that to the police and we're waiting for the results of that particular issue.
And the good thing is that you said to me last night, we know them.
Yes, definitely.
So you do know.
So look, Xoli, I'm not a policeman. So we've given it to the police. So we'll get a report definitely from the police to say what's obtaining there. Because those people must be dealt with because they are derailing the whole thing. And we don't want that.
All right. MEC, I'm letting you go. Final question. The question of donations.
Yes, yes.
We're hearing huge amounts.
Yeah.
UAE, there are those that are business people. I hear the Motsepe Foundation, for example, may have donated as well to the province. Collectively, how much would you say the province sits with now as pure donations to respond to this disaster? Because that money is intended for the very people that you are accommodating in BNBs. And can you assure here tonight that those people are the ultimate beneficiaries of these funds?
Yes, Xoli, look, for now I can't determine the total amount of all the donations, including those in-kind groceries and so on. But our team is going to report on everything that has been donated. Then we will be able to announce it accordingly. But the intention from us is to ensure that everything that has been donated goes to the ultimate beneficiaries. And we don't want any funny business in the management of that process. Yes, UAE has said they are going to donate about 55 million to the Premier. So that will be good. Remember, we're facing a crisis of this community not having houses. Now land has been identified. I think 3 parcels we've already identified. So we're working with various government departments to say, we're going to resettle these people here. We're going to build temporary structures for them, but then you may require permanent structures. So maybe some of these donations, consulting them obviously, may be required to build permanent structures, but it's a matter that we will engage them so that they are part of the process.
All right, let me see, completely out of time. Funerals have started. Is government lending a hand at all? I mean, remember, there are families that are bearing 3 to 4 family members, and I suspect they may not be able to manage on their own. I'm simply asking whether government is pitching in when it comes to that.
Yes, the government is fully engaged with assisting the families in terms of funding for funerals. So our officials are busy working with families to deal with logistics about the funerals themselves. So we are going to be part of that. You would remember when we were here, I think social development is going to be also giving each and every family funding directly in respect of every person that has died in that particular family. So government is fully engaged in that process.
I've kept you for too long. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for obliging.
Right.
Zolile Williams, the MEC of Cogta, Iman. And I've tried to get in as much questions as is possible because we are going to be traversing the length and breadth of this particular region, Iman, starting tomorrow, in particular to see how the funeral services are going, whether the families indeed, as the MEC says, are getting the necessary help. As you would have heard, 3-4 family members dying at once, it's not going to be an easy thing to manage. So that's part of what we are going to be observing throughout this weekend.